ASMballeR. I have finally have hit 5,000 subscribers, and that is honestly like the craziest thing I can possibly think of that could have possibly have happened to my channel. If you guys didn't know, I started this channel around almost 4 years ago, back in around 2017, I guess, which is totally crazy to think about, and you can go watch my first video I've ever posted. It's still my most viewed video of all time, which is very funny. It's like, I think it has plus 20,000 views or somewhere around there, give or take. And I never thought during that time I would be creating content for this long technically in front of just so many people. And you guys can tell by the way I did my videos back then, like I was just so not knowing like what the possibility was for it. And now, almost 4 years later, 5,000 subscribers later, here we are. And after hitting 1K on YouTube, thinking that was absolutely crazy, 5K is definitely the next big milestone for a YouTube content creator. And it's a really big step. It's sort of like the first sort of thrown out there and into the big ocean of YouTube. And it starts a nice little trend on becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I first made this channel, it was really just to get my content out to as much people as I possibly could, not for the reasons that a lot of people who are on this channel or on this platform are probably on here for. I just want to help people and connect people, be in front of people, at least for my own sake, just really get out there as much as my content can, just to relax, entertain. Back in the day, 4 years ago when I first made my channel, I didn't see any sports related ASMR channels. There weren't even a whole lot of ASMR channels in general. It was before like the big boom of ASMR, before it really blew up a couple years after that. But I've also been watching and listening to ASMR since I was like a freshman in high school. So like 7 years ago, like a very long time ago. So I've been listening to ASMR for a very long time, and just the fact that I can be a part of not only just the ASMR community as a whole, but this little subcategory community that we have together, me and you, watching this video, like we can connect to people down in the comments or on other channels as well. Like obviously, like people like ASMR Collect and Play, ASMR Gaming News, Dito ASMR, sorry. Those guys are absolutely amazing, and those guys inspire me all the time. Those guys are absolutely amazing. Meeting other people too, like Benny ASMR, even though she doesn't really upload a whole lot anymore. Like there's just so many great people out there, and I just really want to continue that on for as long as I can. 5K really seems like absolutely nothing if you compare it to a lot of other people, but on YouTube, comparing yourself to other people is the biggest downfall you could do, and I try my best to not compare myself to anyone. All I want to do is make the best content I can for you guys, whether that's with basketball content, gaming, role plays, anything I feel like I want to do and be creative with is what I will show, and hopefully you guys appreciate. So I'm rambling a lot right now. This is sort of like a very much of a throwback video. If you guys have been along here for many years, you guys know I don't really do these rambles anymore. But just thank you guys so much for just all that you guys have been through, whether you sit and watch all my ads when they come up at the beginning of the video, or whether you subscribe, like the videos, whether you have bought personalized content, which shout out to literally all you guys who have done that. Like you guys go above and beyond, and you guys mean absolutely the world to me. Thank you guys so much. If you actually contacted me about personalized videos, like that is just my big passion right now. I love doing that kind of stuff. So or if you just click on my video, like if you just even watch the video, like I can't thank you enough. Like 5,000 people is such a it's been crazy. It's been hard. It's been so hard. You guys have no idea. Like, big props to people who do this because it is terribly hard on me working, you know, normal job, also being the holidays, trying to interact with people, but also creating content every day is just very tough. So again, thank you guys so much for the constant support you guys give me, whether it's comments, likes, personalized videos, anything like that. Like, thank you guys so much. And you know, on the road to 10K, I do have a 10K giveaway obviously coming up. I did my 5K giveaway back in October, giving out a free copy of NBA 2K21. My next giveaway will definitely be something bigger than just a copy of 2K. I'll think of something like, I don't know, we gotta come up with some ideas. Probably something very nice for you guys, because 10K is just like another, just like the next big accomplishment. Once it's 1K, 5K, it goes to 10K, and like 25K. Like, we got some goals to hit, boys and girls, so let's make sure we keep on keeping on. I love you guys so much, and I can't thank you enough. 10K subs, here we come. Okay guys, so we are now jumping into the video. If you've jump cut to this, hello. This is the actual video that we're going to be doing tonight. It is the biggest disappointments of the start of the 2020-2021 NBA season. As I say, Bleacher Report article, they have some topics they're going to be talking about, which I'm going to just sort of, you know, spitball off of as well. I think that's the reference I'm referring to. I'm just going to be, you know, kind of seeing what they say, agreeing with it, disagreeing with it, also obviously coming out with my own. I have a few that I can think of right now, and yeah, I guess we can just get started on what they have to say about the biggest disappointments of the NBA's start to the season. One of their first ones they actually start talking about, I think it's pretty interesting, is the play of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Do I agree with this? I definitely did think that the Milwaukee Bucks were going to come out this season looking for vengeance. Obviously, having the best record in the entire NBA last season, looking like almost like a 60+ win team last season. Maybe even coming into the NBA bubble as the favorites to win the championship. But obviously, you know, not getting there, being upsetted by the fantastic play of the Miami Heat, which the Miami Heat just beat the Milwaukee Bucks tonight without Jimmy Butler, and they lost, which was very surprising to me, at least in my opinion. They did beat them the other night, but Wednesday they lost to them, so that was pretty interesting, at least in my opinion. Let's see who else they have lost to so far. They lost to the Boston Celtics on opening night, and they also lost by 20 to the Knicks, which that game was actually pretty bad. And what you're thinking is, oh, what do you mean? They probably didn't play Giannis. They probably blah, blah, blah. No, Giannis played. Chris Middleton played. All of their major players played. They lost to the Knicks by 20. So, do I think they're a big disappointment? I don't think they're a humongous disappointment. That's not something you have to really bring up. I'm sure they know they're playing bad, but I really thought that the Bucks were going to be one of those teams that just blew past this regular season and just dominated. But maybe they're sort of taking the sort of Laker play style. Well, I can't even say Laker play style because the Lakers last season had the #1 seed in the West. But you know what I mean? They're going to reserve a lot of their energy for the playoffs, for the championship run that they're going to try to give Giannis finally this year that he deserves. And you know, maybe they just don't take the regular season as intensely as it did last season, being almost a 60+ win team. So, same thing with Giannis. I don't think Giannis is going to be playing, you know, 33, 36 minutes a game, every single game. You'll probably see Giannis between that 28 to like 30, 31, 32 minutes per game, and they're really going to savor that squad for the playoffs. And I think, quite honestly, it's probably the smartest thing to do. So saying it's a disappointment from an analyst standpoint, yeah, it's probably not the greatest because they're not going to be trying as hard. But for NBA smarts, it's a great idea because all the great players do it. They rest to take games off. They sort of ease Raptors is another one. Oh, I guess we can also throw in the play of the Washington Wizards as well. They also said that too. So the Wizards and the Toronto Raptors, which are teams that I actually picked to be in the playoffs, but right now they are winless in the first sort of 3, 4, 5 games of the NBA season. They haven't even won one yet, so that is definitely very, very bad. If you take a look at the games the Toronto Raptors have actually played, they lost to the Pelicans, the Spurs, and the 76ers, which are definitely all good teams, don't get me wrong. So saying they are 0-3 isn't so that crazy, but I mean, you guys can definitely beat the Spurs, you guys can definitely beat the Pelicans. I get Philadelphia is still a powerhouse in the East, but I mean, last season you guys played very, very, very well, and being 0-3 at the start of the season, I think I read somewhere it was like the first time that's ever happened to them in like 15 years or something like that, something super crazy like that. So they're definitely struggling a lot. I'm actually gonna take a look at Pascal Siakam's stats. Pascal Siakam this season's averaging 18 points and 9 rebounds. So if you're arguably your best player is averaging under 20 points per game, that's pretty rough in my opinion. Fred VanVleet's averaging under 15 points per game, also pretty rough. Let's check out Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry also under 20 points per game, so it's very even. That's very much the Toronto Raptor way and play style. I guess is everyone can score, everyone's very good, everyone's a good IQ basketball player who plays very well. But I said this once, and I will say this again: Toronto can't be a championship caliber team until they get a guy like Kawhi. You know, DeMar back in the day was a very good player, can give you like 28 points per game if he really wanted to. So until they get a player who can just go get a basket and just a certified bucket, like a lot of best players in the NBA are, until Pascal Siakam can be that, I just don't really think they have a very great chance of winning a championship. They can, for sure. Obviously, we saw Miami last year with one very good all-star, almost superstar type player like Jimmy Butler do it. I think they could, but it's going to be very rough for them, at least in my opinion. And then if you look at the Washington Wizards, they're also 0-4. They have lost to, the 76ers, which you can definitely see that happening. I watched that game and I thought they played very well against them. I was very surprised. But then they lost to the Magic, and then to the Magic, and then to the Bulls. So they lost 3 games to, no offense to these other teams, but some adequate talent, especially coming from the Chicago Bulls and losing to them. Chicago is definitely a team where you think you could probably pick up a win there, but it looks like they struggled pretty hard against them. Let's check out actually their roster. Let's check out Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's actually averaging 32 points per game, which is super duper crazy. Good on him. I knew having Russell Westbrook would only really help him more. Obviously, Russell Westbrook being another key player that the opposing team has to look out for, but also just the looks he's going to get are going to be way easier. The way Russell Westbrook plays, he's going to get a lot of kickouts, a lot of good rebounding and pass outs back to Bradley Beal for wide open shots. I could definitely see why that would be a main thing. And then if you look at Russell Westbrook's stats, he's averaging 19 points, 13.7 rebounds, and 17.7 assists, so a triple double, which is good. We love triple double Russ. And I'm pretty sure that's probably about it. I know also that Rui Hachimura, I think, has not played a game yet, which is going to hurt them significantly because he was definitely the second best player on their team last year. And had a pretty good season, if I do say so. Denny averaging nearly 10 points per game, which isn't bad, so they're definitely on the right track, and they're still a very young team. They're still sort of trying to rebuild while keeping their star players, which obviously getting Russell Westbrook is just an added, addition to that, so that's really good. But definitely disappointing in my opinion. They should be at least 3-1. I think they should have beaten Magic both times, maybe lost one, maybe. And then the Bulls should have beaten the Sixers. They probably could have won that game, but they just sort of fell short at the end. But they're still a good team. But man, the Raptors, that's a tough one. And same thing with the Wizards. So those guys should be a little bit better, at least in my opinion. at least in my opinion, the way Tatum played, the way Tatum took over, the foul call, that was very, very crazy at the end of the game there with Giannis missing the game-winning free throw. Like, that was a crazy game, and they barely skid by. But I feel like that was a good win, good play. But I don't think they played Kemba Walker yet. At least in my opinion, they lost to Brooklyn, which, my God, I can't believe Spencer Dinwiddie, dude. Like, that just sucks a lot that happened. They're still a really good team, and they're still going to be very good, but it definitely takes a little bit knock off of them being the all-around favorite, at least in my opinion. Now I feel like it's definitely more even in the East with that happening, which, again, like, God, that just really sucks. That's terrible. But I know he'll be coming back. He's a great player, nonetheless. And then they also lost to Indiana, which they lost by 1 point, which, again, they're not playing their other option player, probably their second option on offense when it comes to scoring with Kemba Walker. But they're playing okay for right now. Jaylen Brown's averaging 25 points per game. Like, that's absolutely beautiful for Jaylen Brown. Then you have Jason Tatum averaging 25 also. So both your main guys are averaging 25 points per game. And like I said, Kemba Walker hasn't even played a game yet in this regular season. So once you get them back, Boston is going to be completely fine. So this is just definitely an over-exaggeration on that part. I definitely also think with the Bucks, a little bit of an over-exaggeration. And then also, they talk about Kelly Oubre Jr., Andrew Wiggins, and the play of the Golden State Warriors. My God. They definitely, I've said this before and I'll say this again, until the Golden State Warriors show me that they are who a lot of you guys and a lot of other people think they are, a top 4, almost title contending team that's going to be really good. Everyone's just doubting them, this, that, and the other. I can't believe that, but until they show me, like, I can't say it for sure. Right now they are 2-2. Let's see who they've played. They lost to the Knicks and the Bucks, which everyone is going to lose to the Knicks and the Bucks. They are top tier, top 5 teams in the NBA right now, at least in my opinion. They did beat Chicago by 1 point, so that's pretty good. And they also beat the Pistons, which is also pretty good. In those games, Steph Curry took off. I think he scored 31 and 36 in both those games. So it looks like in order for the Warriors to win, Steph Curry is going to have to be a god of a player, which he's definitely capable of being, arguably, or maybe is, the best point guard in the NBA. So far he's already averaging 26.5 points per game, which is really good for Steph coming off an injury. Then you also look at Andrew Wiggins averaging nearly 18 points per game, but very inefficient. 18 points, those are mid-range shots, foul shots, open sort of buckets. 3-point shooting apparently is very bad. And if you look at Kelly Oubre's as well, averaging 7.8 points per game. No, this is not Kelly Oubre coming off the bench. This is Kelly Oubre starting and having a major role on the team. 7.8 points per game. That's pretty disappointing. I'll definitely say Kelly Oubre has definitely been very disappointing at the start. I think he will pick it up. It's a new team, new system, new way and play style. He's been playing on Phoenix, where he probably gets to take any shot he wants, anywhere he wants to. Playing with the Warriors, I feel like it's definitely a more set thing. So hopefully Kelly Oubre can figure that out. But I will agree with that. I think the Warriors have been a little bit meh with their play style, even when the games they've won. There's some point in times where it's just very hard to watch them play, because once Steph Curry is out, that team is rough to watch. But one of the biggest surprises of the season, James Wiseman, averaging nearly 13 points per game and 6 rebounds. That may not sound so great, but when you watch James Wiseman play, he looks like a bona fide role-playing like center already in the NBA. Like, he looks really good when he plays. He plays very smart. Like, the dude's hitting like 3-point shots, mid-range shots. He plays the center position really well with the pick and rolls. Very quick on his feet. Like, he of effort in order for them to make one bucket, and then they will go all on defense and give it up so fast. They are 2-2. They are right now, I think, 6th or 7th in the rankings in the Western Conference, but they did just get blown out by the Clippers by 20 points, which is really bad. They also got blown out on their other loss by 20 points. So when they lose, they will lose. They get down in really big, deep droughts, and during the game they have to dig their way out of it in order to skim by a win. They did that the other night against the Houston Rockets, which, bro, the Houston Rockets have, they have club James Harden, you know, dude's literally walking out of the club, going straight there, straight to the game, and they can't even beat them by barely anything. Like, they just have James Harden, and they almost lost that game in overtime. It took a immaculate play of CJ McCollum for them to just barely beat the Houston Rockets. And then they played the Lakers. Their next game, they did beat the Lakers, which, hey, that's awesome. Defending champs, that's super cool. But, bro, the Lakers had a terrible game, and they still almost lost. It took a great play of Gary Trent Jr. in order for them to win that game. Gary Trent Jr. scored like 30 points that game, like off the bench, and he still gets no playing time, which don't even get me started on that conversation. For you Blazer fans, you know Gary Trent Jr. is getting no minutes. It's so crazy that they would rather play Carmelo over Gary Trent Jr. That just blows my mind. Don't even get me started on that conversation. But they're skimming by these teams, and it's just, for me, it looks very hard and rough for them to even score, even though everyone says this is the best team the Blazers have had in this many years, this, that, and the other. I really don't see that in Damian, dude. Damian's averaging 23 points per game. There are some games where he doesn't even score in the first half of a game. Like this past game against the Clippers, the dude didn't even hit a three-pointer, and that's like his like key sort of play style, is being a good three-point shooter. This team is looking very rough. This team could be definitely a team that can make the playoffs, sure, but as of right now, I'm seeing a first-round outing for the Portland Trailblazers. And one last thing I'll say before I go, one very big disappointment for this NBA season is something that it definitely can't be controlled and definitely cannot be ignored at all, is, at least in my opinion, while watching the game, the intensity. The basketball game, I think, is definitely just not there. It just, when watching the NBA basketball games that have been going on, it just feels very weird, and I don't know if it's just me when watching it, but it feels very awkward. And when watching it in the bubble, I feel like the bubble, they did a very good job, definitely maybe even a better job in creating a very good atmosphere for the game, and watching it and feeling how the game, and like, wow, this looks really cool, this is really intense, this is really fun. Maybe that was just because it was the playoffs and it was playoff season and this, that, and the other, but when watching these games, like, it's low-key been kind of tough to like actually sit down and like watch a game fully and be fully into it. I think the crowd is definitely something that's been very underrated. I think we all can understand that now, man. Like, bro, without the fans, like, sports is just so weird. But at least for me, in my opinion, when I thought about that, oh, they'll be fine, they did it in the bubble and doing all these other arenas, it'll still be fun to see that and this, that. But if I can be honest, I would think I would rather watch these games back in the bubble than having this sort of big open empty arenas and seeing no fans or seeing fake fans. And like, I actually kind of miss the NBA bubble a little bit more. And also, I think the games were just, the players played better in the bubble than they did sort of now. Players have said before that the bubble was obviously harder mentally going to game, but the players have said that it's easier to score and play on those rims and all those hoops, because, you know, if you look at a backboard, it's see-through, and the depth of field when shooting a basketball obviously changes with the clear backboard, so it's probably easier to score on those hoops that have, you know, something closer behind it, like a wall disappointing when watching the games, and it's very hard to actually like sit and actually watch these games because, in my opinion, the bubble games, maybe because again it was playoff time, were just a little bit more intriguing and fun to watch, and the players seemed more into it, and everyone just, it seemed more intense. But again, it could just be because of the playoffs. That might be a little bit nitpicky as well. But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much again for 5K.